Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Gathering of Gachas, the only podcast that focuses exclusively on the games your parents don't want you to play. I'm Galen, the sound guy Firestone.
I'm Ranakel.
And here's Ryan the RyBred.
Always good to have you on, buddy.
Yes, always good.
So we have no Kite and no Dez this week. Kite is sick. Unfortunately, he has some kind of fever/flu. We wish him well.
Get better, please.
Get better, please. And then Dez had to work. His schedule got moved around, so unfortunately we couldn't accommodate that. Which is, when you have a crew this big, that's going to happen, unfortunately. One day, Ryan, we're going to have all five of us on.
Yes, it'll happen one day. I believe it. I see it in the future. I see it in my mind, it happening. I'm just not sure when that day will be.
It'll happen.
Conveniently, when you have a crew this big, it still means that the show can go on, even with a few people missing.
Which is actually a thing I like about having a large crew, because every once in a while we can just deal with that.
Exactly.
On the subject of dealing with it, let's go ahead and deal with the FFVIIR recap of the week, because I have no actual transition to use here.
Smooth as butter.
Yep.
Yes.
So, let's start with what happened last week, which we skipped because of technical issues catch up. So we had the FF7 Remake Part 2 event.
Yay!
With a raid that's not that hard, and honestly, even the daily bosses challenge and what people are starting to call the Pug Farm, because the items you get for enhancing the stats kinda look like Pug for some people.
That's funny, I didn't think of it that way. But
they look more like atoms to me, but Pug Farm is the name the community has landed on, and there's been stupider name in the past, and there will be stupider name in the future.
I'm sure there will. Pug Farm is fine.
Give me all the pogs.
Internet's going to meme. Gamer's going to meme.
Yeah.
Nothing new there.
And so far, even the boss was, as far as I'm concerned, easier than the past ones.
In terms of the raid boss, you're saying?
The raid boss, the daily bonus challenge, everything.
They really are. Yeah, I really didn't even try to cap this one out. You know, I already had my old team from the farming event, just did the whole optimize thing, slapped them on with whatever the heck was the best attack gear nobody had, and max damage, repeat.
Yeah.
So that's fine, and that's fine by me. I'm with that.
Yep.
And the daily one being easy as well, in that similar vein.
Yeah.
Turns
out we like being able to just turn 1 or turn 2 on repeat a boss if we need to farm the boss.
Especially considering there's there's so much more to farm now. We already had the raids to do and stuff, and now that you have that, plus you have the little Neo Vision material thing to farm, so it's kind of a lot.
And turns out there's even more to farm when you have an absurd luck like I've been having so far. I mean, I already was pretty nice 2 weeks ago. By now, I am at 10 native Neo Visions units.
Oh,
wow.
4 clouds, 4 rains, 2 Aeriths.
What?
Yeah.
How? Just getting that lucky?
Mostly luck.
Yeah, that just sounds like a good hot streak. It happens.
Yeah, definitely. Nice.
Haven't gotten the latest unit so far, but...
Nice.
So far, so good.
Any lucky ones, like my blue cracking all the way up to a Neo Vision cloud?
No, mostly just in the middle of a 10 pool, something like that.
Right, nice. Yeah, I don't know if last time...
No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if by the time we recorded our last one, I had somehow gotten me a Neo Vision Rain...
Nice.
On the free polls, that 4 daily poll, I got a rain on that, so that's cool. I'll take it.
Turns out when you have a lot of units in the 5 pools and only 2 or 3 in the rarest slot,
Right.
you actually have a much higher chance to get the latest unit than any individual 5-star.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why I'm kind of like just pulling all I have for now on these first couple banners, and then after that maybe I'll start doing some hoarding, because it's like you might as well just try to pull as many of these as you can early while the pool is nothing and get them fully awakened.
Yeah, well, since I'm already pretty set, I didn't chase after the latest one. I'm saving a little. I did spend a lot of resources, but I keep reasonable amount, 40 tickets, over 10,000 lapis.
Right.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent, emergency hoard, which I think is actually very good. That's a good way to play.
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. And this way, if Elena and Yoshikiri look good, that's where I'm going to fire up next.
Yeah, I'd like to pull on that one, but we will see how things go with my resources, as I have not much, so I'm not too caring.
Hey, you never know, you could get a lucky break too.
Exactly. Yeah, so far these daily pulls have been great to me. Now with these rate ups, I've gotten multiple rainbows, like 3 dailies.
Yeah,
some more useful than others.
A lot of good positive tales about these rate ups.
Yeah, no, the rainbow rate to 10% envy included is real.
Yes, very real.
It's felt much more prominently than the upgrade from 3% to 5%, in my opinion.
And as you can see, I mean, it's more than double. Well, 5% to 10, exactly double, but it's the biggest increase. It's like an exponential increase compared to a 1 to 3, in my opinion.
Yeah. Point being, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now let's talk about Aerith.
Okay.
Yes.
So in FF7 itself, in Remake, her job was kind of the destroyer of all, which was unusual for Aerith, since she became, because of the way magic works in that game, easily the most powerful damage dealer in the whole game.
Yeah.
Right.
How close did she end up in FFVIIR?
Well, they've taken a very interesting approach.
Okay.
Which is that they made her exactly the kind of unit we thought New Visions would be right from the start.
Which is...
well, if you remember the New Visions unit we've had so far, mostly it's been, here's our main role, like, let's say, Great Sword 200 damage dealer.
Right.
Which is the case for half the New Vision units anyway.
Right.
And when you brave shift them, it's a different take on the exact same role, mostly.
Okay.
Aerith is not like that. Aerith goes from a healer in her main form to a mage in her brave shifted form.
Okay, that actually...
And I do mean a full mage and a full healer.
Yes.
To give you the basic AD, she has 226 magic and 314 spirit at her EX plus 3 normal form.
Okay.
And in brave shift, she shifts to 294 magic and 280 spirit. So she gains like 70 magic just from shifting as a base stat.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I love that. I mean, that's what I think more of these units should have. I mean, it really reminds me of how I wish Beryl worked when he was released, that he could have some kind of shift like that. And yeah, I mean, that's
even
great.
Paladin Cecil with the into the dark, into the light shifts.
Right.
Ooh, that would
be
cool.
True. Yeah, that'd be nice. So yeah, I'm stoked on it. I wish that I could pull one of her. Well, I probably need more than one to brave shifter because I don't know if I have the stuff. But anyway,
especially since you only get 30 shots instead of the 40 we've had so far.
True. So yeah, she's really cool.
So let's talk about her gear first.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so TMR, pretty solid. A prayer to change the future. It's 40 magic, 20 spirit, and 15% resistance to fire, ice, lightning, light.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm sorry, flat numbers on a material?
No, 15%.
No, for the magic
40% magic and 20% spirit.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's pretty decent utility. It doesn't seem like it's anything
stats, defensive stats.
Yeah.
It's nice when you don't want to go overkill and stick some nice side benefits for you mage.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah, I think what I'm liking about a lot of these TMRs now is that, they're not really going to make them STMR level, but they're making them a little bit better than old TMRs in that they're adding that elemental resistance to a lot of them I'm seeing.
And I think that's kind of making up for what you guys call elemental Tetris, even though
and the game of elemental Tetris got much easier as of late.
Right. Yeah, with all this stuff. So how about our STMR?
How about it indeed? So it's her clothes, and it's type of item clothes.
I would hope so.
Even though it's more of a dress.
True, but
well, they don't exactly have a dress category, so clothes is about as close as it gets.
Robes.
Yeah, I guess
it could have been a robe.
I say it's closer to clothes than robe, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, I think her design is more casual.
Yeah.
True. Especially since it's her base form clothes and not her brave shifted form, which is the fancy dress.
Right.
She eventually gets in.
Right.
Anyway,
tell me she gets the chair. Tell me
she doesn't.
No!
She does not have a chair. Did we really think
she can equip flails.
Close enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's 80 flat magic, 70 flat spirit, and 50% magic through dual wield. True double hand. So it's a really good mage clothes item.
The only thing that would have just made this ridiculously great. Also, true double hand for spirit. There's so little gear for that. That would have been...
good point.
Yeah, but 80 magic, 70 spirit in its own is ridiculous. Yeah, I'm one of the probably few people who has a really good amount of true double hand spirit gear, actually. So
interesting.
I can get some high spirit out of some people, so I would be interested to see what I could do with this Aerith in her healer version. Yeah,
and her vision cat too, which is certainly one of a kind. It's Planet's Whisper, and it provides base magic and spirit from 40 all the way to 65 in both stats. Yes. And as for its passives, it's 2 steps of 25% magic and spirit rod mastery, and 20% magic and spirit for FF7 units at the level 10.
Okay.
So overall, 70% magic and spirit and 65% base item stats.
So I have a bit of a question about that. So there's stats on FF7 units in particular.
Yeah.
How do they get away with that with Compu Gacha laws?
I don't know. I think since it comes from an FF7 unit, you automatically have one to equip it on.
I guess. I don't know, this one feels a little...
It's not Compu Gacha if you have the unit and the equipment for the unit. It's like saying it would be risky to have a unit and a TMR that's good for the unit itself.
Good for is one thing, but actually giving stats to a specific category is where I'm a little like, but you're right, she is part of that category. Sadly, Advent Children is somehow not. Wait, what? But,
yeah. Well, that could be,
to be fair, there are no Advent Children mages.
Yeah.
No,
I think they uncannoned Advent Children or something, like, completely.
No, they didn't. They didn't. I think that was just a weird Gumi decision. I think we just filed that as a weird Gumi decision.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
Oh, as far as her unit kit goes. So we have first her healer side, her normal side, which has some crazy high modifiers on her healing numbers, which is starting to actually become useful again, because we have even our DPS unit that have 15,000 HP, the tanks that can, once new vision tanks start coming out, they will beat 30,000 HP easily, and that's finally the threshold where Akureja on a unit with no spirit is not a full heal anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I feel like forever. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah. And
how much that Coeurl is dealing.
Honestly, I would maybe have liked it better if we already had the Neovision tanks. Because right now, it's a little bit bringing a sledgehammer to a tiny hammer problem.
I mean, I'll take it. What about the people who have their Tifas at 40,000 HP? What about that, huh?
That's kind of a tank.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, no, true. I mean, she can't really draw the attacks while keeping this crazy amount of HP.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some builds out there, but...
I mean, in general, any Neovision... Yeah, any Neovision in general is just overkill. Yeah. I mean, imagine a Neovision tank right now would just probably make any trial a joke. Well, not any, but,
right, because that's not the case already. We'll come to that.
Exactly. Well, actually, I just really haven't tried that much. I tried the Behemoth K and still got destroyed, but I didn't go in with full evade units. I looked afterwards. Trying to go in blind. I'm like, oh, well, maybe that's why.
Yeah, apparently, remind me, that's the guy you want everyone on your party to have 100% physical evade?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm hearing. You do have at least one viable alternative now. We'll come to that later. We'll talk to a unit that is pretty much tailored for this trial.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Regarding...
from now about her kit. So, one of her main deficiency as a healer is that unlike most of her current meta healers, she doesn't have a status ailment immunity. What she has instead is the ability to do, for instance, mental liberation and physical liberation, which are a heal and a MP heal with a Nizuna or a Dispel, Breaks, Stop and Charm attached.
Right,
And it auto-casts a bigger version of the same spell with the cures on the next turn. Which is an interesting way to do it. It doesn't solve the problem if one of your units is confused.
Right.
The confusion still goes before the next, but for the other cases, it kind of works.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. The only real problem with that is that if Aerith is herself, stay petrified or paralyzed, if you're not in the turn you're expecting the second cast, you basically have to use one of your casts to preemptively cure the next turn's status ailments, and that's not always practical, especially given that, even though her kit is very powerful, she only has dual cast in this form anyway.
Yeah, I've heard that despite the great idea, it wasn't necessarily executed in the best way, considering her being a Neovision. She's actually worse than many non-Neovision healers.
Yeah, if I wanted a pure healer right now, I'd still take one of Laislena over her.
Interesting.
Or my man, Dr. Aiden.
Or your man, Dr. Aiden. She does have some pretty strong arguments, like her 45% physical mitigation, 45% magic mitigation, which is on demand if you have the skill fully upgraded. Lots of barriers, and big barriers, like 4,000, 5,000 HP.
Ooh, that's good.
That is some big barriers.
She also has one Do Everything skill, Planet's Blessing, which is on Nezuna, Dispel, Break, Stop, Charm, Kiraja Tier Heal, Revive All Allies, and Auto-Revive All Allies for 3 turns. But it's a grand disability, and you can only use it 2 times per battle.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a good crap button, but it's not really...
Exactly.
It's not really stand out beyond that, sounds like.
It is the panic button.
Okay.
And she does have some LB build support with ATB Ward, which does a big HP regen and fills LB gauge for everyone for 3 turns.
That sounds about right.
And her LB is basically her kit distilled into a single skill. It's an Izuna, enormous heal, like bigger than a Kiwaja by almost twice the modifier.
Wow.
Revive all allies, and next turn it autocasts an Izuna, a heal, an MP refill, and dispel the stats, breaks, stop, and charm.
Yeah. I
So
know OG is all her limit burst was just ridiculously good. It was like a reset button to the battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And she herself doesn't have she does have immunity to sleep, paralyze, confuse, stop, and charm. So that's some of the most important ones. She doesn't have petrify immunity, but aside from that, it's a decent status immunity.
Right.
Yeah. Stop and charm. I'll take it.
Yeah. And then she has a skill, which is her skill common to both her forms, which is Tempest.
Now we're back.
Tempest.
Yeah.
I use that a lot in Remake.
Yep, me too.
All right. What does it do in Remake?
It's a big old AoE burst that you could charge.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here it's a big single target, not the burst, but goes with awakened chaining moves, but it also heals all allies.
Oh, it heals.
Yes.
It did not
It's
do
similar-
that in
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to Citrus Chain or Ash, the
Okay.
original Ash's move.
Right. That's a cool idea.
I like that.
But it's non-elemental magic damage, so not necessarily the most meta thing right now.
right.
Still, the modifier is high, and she makes the most of it when she's in her Brave Shifted form.
Mm-hmm.
No, don't get me wrong. When she's Brave Shifted, she doesn't instantly loses everything and forgets everything about being a healer. She still has a Kiwaja tier on-demand clean moves, on-demand revive all KO'd allies move, this move which heals and does damage at the same time, and she also has a light magic finisher which heals all allies at the same time.
All right.
Oh yeah, and she still has her cooldown for physical magic physical mitigation and HP barrier. So she does have some support, even as a maid.
So it sounds like you pretty much just kind of want to keep her in that brave shift, whether or not you are healing with her.
I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, that was very, very in character for how you used her in Remake as well, because she was all about bringing the magic damage and occasionally tossing a prayer out.
Yeah, the
pretty
only
much.
exception is if you need one of those Izunas that autocast itself next
Right.
turn.
Mhm.
Basically, her normal form is status management, which other units do better than her, and her
Right.
mage form is just annihilating people with mostly light damage, which she does better than Kuja.
That sounds
go.
about right, to be perfectly honest. That's on brand for her, for what I played.
She
Yep.
does have other elements, but the lightning, ice, and fire spells are finishers with a decent modifier, but not that high for an envy. Like,
Yeah.
she still can imperil fire, ice, and lightning with 120%,
Right.
especially when she unlocks the better skills with either cooldown or her LB, which is damage from all of those elements at the same time.
Right on.
But her main power comes from Ray of Judgment. which
I
is,
use that one a lot too.
That's right. That's what it's called. Oh man.
Oh, yeah, that was
I
like
used to
her
just
big
kill
damage
things
spell.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so light elemental, elsewhere I can chain, 120% light imperil, 75 times modifier. Which
Okay.
is enormous.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
huge.
And the best part of it all, when she uses, in particular, her Grandis ability in this form, she gets, not the whole party, just her gets a 15% increase to light damage.
Oh.
An increased modifier for most of her skills, which includes the Ray of Judgment.
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
So
yeah, she gets even 10 times more modifier.
So just
total
disintegrate everything.
I haven't come to the best part. She unlocks her quadcast this way.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Which is amazing. However, even that this is on a skill you can only use twice per battle, it means that she can only triple cast if the fight lasts longer than 10 turns.
Okay.
But is anything...
if the fight lasts longer than 10 turns, that's your problem.
And it pretty
I
much
was
is with
gonna
the amount of
say-
firepower she seems to be bringing to the table, which again is on brand. I've joked that when it comes time for the famous death scene, she's not going to get stabbed. She's just going to Firaga Sephiroth from the rafters and then walk away triumphant with the cool guys don't look at explosion style thing going on. She is that powerful.
Yeah,
So-
she's pretty
It
strong.
looks like she could pull that off here too.
Yeah, it like...
Oh yeah, and she also has 150% native demon killer. For good measure.
Why not at that point?
Yeah.
Although
Why
that
not?
actually doesn't make a huge amount of sense considering.
Yeah.
Yet.
Okay. I get you. I see where you're going.
Okay.
Well, I think this game classifies Genova as a demon actually.
Oh.
Huh.
I guess that makes
Okay.
some sense then. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, all right. I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
So yeah, that's Aerith, a decent healer and the best mage in the game, roll into one.
Yeah, that is odd. That is exactly basically what she was in 7 Remake as well. Because, like, I would make a serious argument that Tifa or Barrett is better for prayer anyway.
Yeah, I used Cloud as my healer.
I use Cloud as my tank, but that's only because I couldn't swap in Barrett.
I just didn't even have a tank. I said, who needs a tank? Cloud heals and damages, and everybody else just punches. And I put the all materia on Cloud's cure, so boom, he's just healing everybody as much as he needs to.
Fair, I guess. I think I did the same thing, but like, yeah, I used a lot of those materia that were like, we're going to make him taunt, we're going to make him counter all the time. Like, let's actually have the AI try to do something. I wish I had something more like the Gambit system, but if I have to give him materia to actually make him useful as an AI, that's what I'm going to do. God, the AI in that game was awful.
It was. Yeah, it was terrible. Anyway.
Yeah,
now then,
we're way off topic.
Yeah.
Only slightly.
Only slightly.
So let's talk about the next unit.
Sure.
Which is our good friend Rufus.
I hated that boss fight. It made me punch my desk.
I was
Right.
a professional at that boss fight. It's all counters, and it reminded me of Nier a little bit because all I did in Nier was counter and destroy. Except with terrible mechanics.
The Metal Gear Revengeance strat.
Yeah. So anyway, who the hell asked for Rufus? That's my question.
I mean,
I
I'm
like
cool with it.
like guy's look.
He looks cool, yeah, but I mean,
why
don't
do
know.
we not want him? I think that's a
I mean,
cool
it's not-
choice.
I guess.
As for his design in general, we just talked about Beryl and Paladin Cecil and the way they had these characters, the 7-star characters that had basically two kits roll into one, but in
Right.
a worse way than Neo Visions. Rufus is kind of like that.
Okay.
So first for his gear, he has his clothes as a TMR, which is 30 attack, sleep immunity, and 30% gun mastery. Meh.
Yeah,
With
Meh.
a capital M.
that's pretty
Yeah.
mad.
And his STMR is 50% true dual wield and 60% gun mastery, which would have been a very good STMR at the launch of the 7-star unit.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like that's still pretty okay. Like,
Oh yeah, no,
terrible.
you can definitely slot that in, but the design, the way it works, it basically feels like we already had this STMI, but with the word gun written over another type of weapon.
That is true. That is true. That definitely, it doesn't feel unique. I will absolutely say that.
Yeah. So he can equip guns, of course, but also daggers, swords, and throwing weapons.
Okay.
And as for his kit, so as I said, he has first his basically shooter kit, which skill he can triple cast, and that make him able to do lightning and fire damage with absolute mirror of equity chaining.
Okay.
And some side benefit like an imperial here, delayed lightning damage there, the ability to cure his own attack breaks with a reload skill.
Okay.
Mirage for everyone. Just one charge, but Mirage on demand as part of a triple cast is pretty nice.
Alright.
I can get behind that.
Yeah. He can also self-buff lightning damage by 5%, if that's your thing.
A whole 5%, huh?
Yeah. We're just going wild.
Yeah, a whole 5%. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, 5 entire %.
Okay. Alright, so let me ask you this. What can Rufus do that we actually want him to do?
How about an 84% defense break?
Okay, that's pretty good.
There we go.
Now we finally have a use for the guy. I'm like, wait, he sounds completely like nothing.
Yeah, he is still pretty nothing.
He sounds pretty nothing, but at least he's got a niche now. Like before, I'm just like...
at least he can turn one, go defense break, 2 absolute mirror of equity chains.
Cool.
And that's something if you want to go for turn 1.
Yeah, that's not terrible. That's pretty acceptable.
Yeah.
If you want to go for longer fights, though, a single defense break without a full uptime isn't gonna cut it, which is where his second kit comes into play. Because he can cast a skill named Heal, which is pretty much his Panther's kit.
A what kit?
He has a Panther with him.
Oh, okay.
Black Nation, I think it's called, and it has a skill of his own. At least that was like it in the original, and they've reproduced it here by having this heal skill unlock 4 moves. Only one of them is useful, and you can only dual cast within this moveset.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But one of those moves is an 80% full break, but only for 1 turn. So you have to keep it up constantly.
All right.
He sounds lame.
Yeah.
Yeah. None of this sounds good. Like, it sounds okay.
Yeah. He is okay.
Yeah. I actually pulled
at the
one of him.
very least, his heal skill is autocast at the start of battle, even if you don't have his TMI equipped. So that's that, at least.
Cool.
And that lasts for like 10 turns. But after that, you need to recast it and then get again in full break, constantly mode.
Right.
Yawn.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, 80% full breaks is still something that's pretty valuable if you don't have a Lakshmi lead, if you don't have a van, if you don't have a unit of that tier.
Right.
It can be that unit for you, basically bridging until you get better options.
Yeah, like as I said, I don't think he looks bad, but he doesn't really look like he stands out.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that... Well, no, I'm not. I mean, I'm like, why don't they make some of these 5-star bases that are still coming on these banners at least decently useful? But then again, I'm like, well, no, because then people will just go for that guy and not pull for the Neovision, which they obviously don't want, as now you have a 10% chance at them. Well, I mean, just of Rainbow in general.
Well, there's a bit of star power which they can always count on, but in this situation, they couldn't really push it that far, I suppose.
Yeah.
Now then, let's move on to the unit awakening.
Yeah.
So we have Cloud to start with.
Yes, OG Cloud. So now Cloud has 2 Neovisions already.
Exactly.
Which is cool. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I was able to get mine up as I did one pull on the... No, I'm sorry. I got him on a daily. I got Cloud on a daily pull, which was my 4th one. So I was then able to Neovision awaken him. So cool.
Well then.
All right.
Now I have both of them.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, so then he actually becomes useful now as he gets some chaining abilities.
Yes, he does.
Wow, original Cloud can chain. That's actually kind of amazing.
And even better than that, original Cloud can chain with Remake Cloud.
Yep.
Okay.
Because he has status trait chains.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
That's not all. He also has another chaining family. Can you guess which one it is?
AMOE?
No.
You'd think that would be useful, but no, it's Octaslash.
The lamest chaining family out there.
Octaslash?
It's
Octaslash.
Are you surprised?
Yes.
They love putting Octaslash on random FF units. Not really.
That they do.
Well, Sephiroth seems to keep them as, makes sense, but, just in case maybe one day we get a Sephiroth, you can chain him with Cloud.
Yeah. Or if you want this cool synergy strat with, like, Beowulf and Kianos, I bet you don't even know off the top of your head what Kianos even looks like anymore.
No, I have no idea who Kianos is. That name sounds absolutely unfamiliar to me.
Who the heck is that? That's not that one little... No, that's not one of those newer ones.
I know him as the guy that brings the 50% LB damage TMR a few months after Squall's STMR was basically the same.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about then. Is that the...
There you go.
Yeah.
I still don't even remember what he looks like or what you're talking about, but that sounds very good.
I remember
and also
the
very
TMR,
sad.
but...
Yeah.
It was on that Crimson banner, right?
I think so, yeah. Anyway, Cloud's kit.
Okay.
His new Vision additions. Well, for starters, in passives, he's got a lot more attack.
Right.
Okay.
90%, 50% through dual wield. Checks out. Increased modifier for most of his finishing skills. Checks out.
Okay.
And Meteor Rain, but that's pretty low.
Yeah.
Also, who the hell chains Meteor Rain anymore?
Yeah.
Is that actually a chain family?
Yes, it is a chain family with 4 people. Cloud, Kingdom Hearts Cloud, Sora, and Zack.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how to take anything you just told me.
Excellent, then let's move on.
Yeah, let's go. That's an actual chaining family. Okay.
So, he has some basically spammable Stardust Ray move, which is 68% fully upgraded.
Okay.
And his other moves on the Octaslash chain family are better, which is frustrating because it's lower base modifier but guaranteed critical hit.
Ooh.
I didn't even notice
that. So that means that if you chain Cloud NV enhanced with a duplicate, you're better off using the Octaslash chain. In other cases, you should really keep it to Stardust Ray.
Yeah, pretty much. Keep it Stardust Ray.
Now then, when he is Brave Shifted, he gets still some Stardust Ray chain moves, but his other family this time is actually Absolute Mirror of Equity. He also gets a better LB with True Meteor Rain.
True Meteor Rain.
True Meteor Rain.
Yeah, it doesn't chain with Meteor Rain.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, but it's a 15-hit LB with high damage, and he can buff his damage pretty reasonably. Not as much as, say, a Wayne would buff it, though.
Right.
Okay.
Understandable, as he's kind of not a OG or Neo Vision base or whatever the hell you want to call him.
Yeah, and he has a Grundis that allows him to fill his LB gauge completely, and then after 2 turns, refill it completely again. Which is important because his NV lasts 3 turns, so he can use 2 skills and Grundis, which fill his LB, then he LBs, and then the turn after the first LB, he can LB again.
Okay.
Cool. That's a lot of LB power. We like that.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
And basically, as far as his kit goes, and he goes as a unit as a whole, he does very good base damage. He has a lot of raw power. The problem, which has always been Cloud's problem, is that he only has that.
Exactly, yeah.
He needs someone to imbue for him. He needs someone to imperil for him. And if you want to use his most damaging moves, he needs someone to buff him as well.
Right. You know, a good combination to use him with is actually Neo Vision Rain.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, he can't function alone.
You don't get a lot of his burst early on either, because he can only Brave Shift starting on turn 3.
True.
It takes a while to charge up the LB.
Yeah, his LB is one of the slower charging ones on, it's 7-star.
No, I meant LB as a narrative term here, because it feels like he basically gets his limit break in the FF7 sense of the word.
Oh boy. Oh man. Well, I mean...
if you have the support for it, he does a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those characters that's kind of like trying to give away a Neo Vision. He's been around so long that there's a high amount of people who have a decent amount of copies of him. Yeah. I'm surprised I only had 3 until now. So, of course, they're not going to make him too ridiculous. But, he's a serviceable.
Well, what this means is congrats on your Ultima weapon, because as it turns out, his SCMR is still very relevant.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I got it when Item World ended already, so I wasn't able to bring that through, but that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. I have the other Ultima weapon.
Yeah, turns out in a meta that's half true double-hand greatsword users, a true double-hand greatsword is pretty useful.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I wish I could have enhanced that one, but, it is what it is.
You know who else is a true double-hand greatsword user? Red 13.
Red 13. True double-hand greatsword.
Yeah, in his base form, he always could equip that.
I remember you could equip katanas, but I didn't remember. I forgot about the
dagger, sword, greatsword, katanas, and fist weapon.
Hey, man. He's probably got a strong mouth.
Yeah.
Hold up that Ultima weapon in there.
There's plenty of games that had wolves with swords in their mouths. Wouldn't be the first time. And how else would you categorize a hairpin?
Dagger, maybe?
Throwing weapon?
Yeah.
Dagger, yeah. I don't know,
and it's like his equipments would help because, as a reminder, both his TMR and his STMR are accessories.
Yep. I will take
Good ones, but still.
Right.
So, as far as his kit goes, he provides some very useful stuff.
Right.
Less raw power than a Cloud.
Right.
But he has a chaining move on demand that, of course, Stylish Steward. He is the source of the Stardust Way chaining family. So
Yeah.
he's only Stardust Way.
Patient
Right.
Zero.
Well, he's Patient Zero in Japan. 2B got it first
Yes.
here.
True.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Wasn't it Graviton Cannon?
She had both, I think, although one was much harder to deal with than the other.
In any case,
Right.
he does two things. Now, first, let's provide some context.
Okay.
Behemoth K is a trail that is Beast and Demon type,
Right.
and that demands your units to constantly evade if you want them to be at their best and survive.
Right. So.
Red 13 provides on demand as part of his most damaging chaining moves.
Mm-hmm.
150% Beast and Demon, and as a free bonus, Undead Killers,
Mm-hmm.
and 10 charges Mirage for
Yes.
himself.
So he was
Which means that
kind of-
every turn he dodges automatically 10 physical attacks.
Yes. So he's kind of made for this.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have Neo Vision, sadly.
Oh, unfortunate.
I have his
I have him
STMR.
barely, but I don't have his Brave Shift form yet.
Right. Nice.
Now,
Yeah.
remind me, what does it take to get Brave Shift form? You need to have up to STMR and a couple of other bits of
Yeah,
nonsense?
and you also need like 25 shards on a pearl.
Yeah, so
Okay.
don't you need overall, I mean, if we were starting from ground zero, what, like, 7 total
technically you
copies?
need- Well,
If you were to get them
in
to
in
same
order to get the
copies?
STMR,
6.
technically you just need one, because you could always Omni Prism or USC Prism, or you could use an STMR Moogle. So
True.
you could cut off some copies that way. But generally speaking, yeah, that's a pretty serious investment.
Yeah.
And then his Brave Shifted form is pretty cool in design, where he rears up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the way it works, well, it has very few active skills, and they're all element locked to fire,
Okay.
which is now his main element.
That makes sense.
And,
He's orange.
yeah.
Orange
Yes.
fire. I get it.
And his state is on fire.
That also makes sense.
Yeah.
And he has an LB that's a finishing move. So basically, he is kind of used as a sort of poor man's Tifa, if Tifa was a rich man's unit and not literally free for everyone.
That's actually kind of a terrifying thought when you put it that way.
Yeah.
But while he does less damage, does hit in an AoE. So he can finish if you have
Right.
AoE chainers
Yeah.
and
Okay.
be useful this way.
Yeah. Well, and his kit seems to be most useful if you're using him in with beast killers or trying to evade,
Yeah.
which is still kind of a
Behemoth.
niche thing. Yeah. Use him for Behemoth and then go home.
Pretty much.
I should dust off my Cypher for that, but too bad Cypher only has AMOE.
Yeah.
It'd be a nice combo for them damage dealing.
Now then, before we go to the more recent set of units,
Mm-hmm.
I think we have to talk about the Gil Towers Incident.
The
Okay,
Gil
what
Towers
is going on
Incident.
here? Because I don't know what this is or what this is talking about. I've heard this phrasing, but this is new information for me.
Alright, so we had an update,
Okay,
Mhm.
good.
and in this update, we had the update for the Soon coin shop,
Okay.
which still is there even though the missions are over, which I learned after the update and didn't clear most of the boss missions, so that was kind of frustrating on this part, but that's
Same.
completely besides the incident.
Right.
Okay.
A lot of people were more diligent for me and had still coins to spare. And in this update, it turns out that instead of the usual Gil family turtles, there was the Gil Tower turtle instead,
Right.
which is worth 5 times more,
Mm-hmm.
and the price was still the same.
Ooh.
Yes.
and there were 500 of them in stock. So a lot of people could literally just buy all of them and get pretty much a quarter of a million gil. A quarter of a billion.
Yes,
gil,
quarter of a billion gil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Instantly.
they did it.
Yeah. So they did it, and Gumi noticed it and shut down the game completely for an hour after they've noticed it and reverted the change.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But they didn't take back the gil or did a reroll or anything like that. If you were in this time frame and you spent your coins and you got your turtles, you still had your gil and everything.
Yeah.
So cool. That
Cool.
sounds
Yeah.
fine. I'm
Yeah.
not really finding an incident or problem here.
Well, of course, people are
Ex-
like, but I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Well, that's your fault.
So
Get on
Yeah.
the ball.
that's pretty much the second best way they could have handled the problem, because third best way they could have handled this problem, which was clearly not intentional,
Mhm.
Right.
and an error which benefited a lot of players.
Right.
The only way it could have been done better is one, okay, let's just own it, and it's free turtles for everyone now.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have been a lot of gil injected unexpectedly in the economy.
I feel like that's potentially more problematic, to be honest.
Yeah, and apparently so did they.
Okay, well. Yeah, I would be reluctant to do that as well.
Yeah, honestly, I think the intermediate solution, which happened only once, I think it was for a FF12 event at some point, where there was an unexpected benefit to players, and something in a shop that was underpriced. I think it was something like LB parts,
Mm-hmm.
and what they did was send a notice where they said, we know about the problem, we're going to fix it at the update time tomorrow. It will be gone after that. Until then, you have 24 hours.
Okay.
That would have maybe suppressed some of the frustration for the people that say, well, now I just need to stay on for after midnight in case they do a mistake, and give lots of free stuff to everyone. But yeah, it's mostly exaggerating the problem, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Reddit was on fire, apparently. I don't
course.
go there very much.
That sounds
but,
on brand for them, because Reddit
Very.
usually
Yes.
thinks the sky is on fire for, something sneezing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got their Gugneers polished and ready to go.
No offense intended to the West Coast.
Yeah, the sky is literally
Yeah.
orange, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you getting
Had a
that down
friend
there,
from
Ryan?
Seattle.
It's actually not too bad here. Down in Chula Vista, there are times like at twilight where the sky looks a little bit more orange. But right now it's just been overcast.
Oh, lucky
Good,
you.
Yeah.
I want to visit now.
Yeah, cruise down.
We may talk.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Alright.
let's get back to talking about,
But-
metaphorically on fire and not real world on fire.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And honestly, I think we've pretty much covered it all at this point. It's
Right.
So, let me see if I understand this correctly. Gumi made a mistake, handled it in what I would call a very responsible and reasonable way, didn't punish people who take advantage of it, and and the subreddit's on fire. Do I basically have the gist of it?
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, so it's Tuesday. Got it.
Yes. So let's move on to the units for this week's batch of events.
Sure.
The event itself being pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
It's a Mog King, but it has two little story phases.
Oh.
Mhm.
And it's a little vignette on
Uh-huh.
events where where Lasswell, after all of the events from Season 2, is being approached by Akstar, the real Akstar,
Right.
which want to learn the Mirror of Equity from Lasswell. And so there's this inverted student-master relationship, and it's really cool.
That sounds cute. I like that.
Yeah, and also there's two of the Madame's Butler, which are in hiding in the bushes, which suggests that this is the start of a short chain of events as part of their own mini storyline on the side, and I'm all for it.
Yes.
Yeah, that all sounds positive. I really don't have a problem with anything you just said. That all sounds good.
Yep.
And this is a way to introduce to our native Neo Vision unit of the day, Awakened Dragon Akstar.
Okay, and that's actual Akstar, not old Rain pretending to be Akstar.
Yep.
That's Akstar with 2 hands.
Yes.
Got it.
Cool.
And 2 legs and 2 eyes. Imagine that.
I'm trying. It's difficult.
Yeah.
I
But
say
it has
that,
a
but
CG, so you can even picture it.
oh,
Yeah.
a new Akstar has this. Okay, cool. Good for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Rain and Cloud had CGs too. Aerith didn't.
Yeah, unfortunately, but no, that's fine.
But yeah, it was this situation where he had his CG released only several months after his release in JP.
Yeah.
But since we already are delayed, we have the unit and the CG right from the launch.
Okay.
Yep. I'll take it.
Yeah, they've been
So-
doing a thing where they've been patching in CGs later, which makes me question a few things. Mostly about how they got into that position to begin with. I assume that has to do with budget or man hours or something, but it's just very... I wonder how they ended up at the point where patching in CGs after the fact is the thing.
Yeah.
It is kind of weird. It's like, why don't you just hold off, on the unit until you get these out? But,
Yeah,
what do I know?
feel like...
I assumed it's like either externalized or something like that.
It could also be COVID related?
Not tell. Yes.
Mhm.
The time frame certainly match.
Yeah.
Now then, as far as his items go, his TMR is a Materia Awakened Dragon,
Okay.
which is 60% attack, unconditional, and a 25% human and dragon killer.
I like that, actually.
Yes.
That's pretty cool for a
It's
TMR.
It's real solid.
Yeah.
Yep.
And his STMR is Novice Amber. It's a 182 attack katana with the ability to give you 50% true dual wield and 50% true double hand.
So Novice
Interesting.
Which
Ember.
sounds awesome as a flexible item until you realize that it doesn't have weapon variants.
Yeah, I was
So
about to
you
say,
are
like, you're missing kind of the big reason why you would double hand with this item, so...
Exactly. So you shouldn't use it as a double hand. It is
Yeah.
a 200 weapon. It is a true dual wield katana.
Yeah, because
Period.
I'm reminded of CG Darkfina's STMR, but Magic doesn't work
Yeah.
the same way, because it doesn't have variants at all.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
Which is why no magic is balanced because of the increase in TDH gap.
Mm-hmm.
Now then, he also has his vision card, which is Guiding the Youth.
Okay.
And it's pretty much Cloud's vision card, but for katanas and FFB unit. So total of 100 base attack, 100% katana mastery, 20% attack increase for FFB native units.
Okay.
I will take it.
That is, it is pretty much an alternate version of the best offensive card in the game.
Well, that all sounds good to me.
Yep.
Okay.
As for the unit himself, so the long and short of it is that he's an absolute mirror of equity chainer, unsurprisingly.
I would expect nothing less.
Mm-hmm.
After all, the scenario is literally him learning that. He does have one skill type we haven't seen yet, which is a Lethal Mind, and it's a very low modifier damage, but it deals increased break damage for enemies whose break gauge is weak to katanas.
Huh.
So it's kind of a replacement for the barrage spam we have currently.
Interesting.
But it is narrow in scope.
Right.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a nice thing to have in a toolkit.
Yeah, my understanding is the break gauge is still in its infancy, so
Yeah.
Yes.
they haven't quite figured that out, but it sounds like they're trying at least to do something with it.
Yeah, which I can
So-
appreciate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Experiment a little bit.
I'm
Mhm.
okay with that.
Yeah.
Try to make it a little more dynamic, which I like.
So he has the ability to imbue himself with ice, which is his one element, and to kill dragons effectively with a 100% self increase in dragon damage actively.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, he also has as his main damage skill an interesting move where he does imperial damage and absolute mirror of equity chaining physical move damage, but it has a % chance to crit, and it's the skill, one of the skill that you can enhance with 40 sights and the like.
Okay.
And at the best level, it has a 90% chance to deal critical hit.
90, huh?
Okay, so that actually that's now 10%
that's
bad
actually
RNG.
significant.
Yeah, no, that is very
Exactly.
significant. But you're gonna feel bad every time it doesn't pop, and it will
Oh,
absolutely
yeah. At the worst
wreck
times.
your day. Yeah. That makes it unreliable to a degree that just feels like a salt factory waiting to happen.
Exactly, and overall, his damage isn't really the best when you compare to things like even Remake Cloud. His main utility, however, is something that I haven't mentioned,
Okay.
which is that this skill and a few other skills of his kit are actually AoE.
Oh.
He is currently the best AoE damage unit in the game.
Interesting.
Which is why, for instance, his Pog Farm stage is a main monster and 2 arms, a little bit like a sort of farmable Aigean.
Okay.
Huh. Okay.
And then he has a Brave Shift in which he turns into Xeno, but still keeps the ice chain even though the global exclusive Xeno is a fire chainer.
Okay. All right. Now
This-
I'm really confused. So Akstar was actually Xeno the whole time, and Old Rain was pretending to be Akstar and Xeno?
Yes, Akstar was the base Xeno of the Beta Star. And then Rain said, "Hey bro, I need your identity, you don't mind? We cool? We cool." I think that's how it goes.
That is such a weird story beat. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you remember that he was also the Gamma Star,
That's true.
but in a different timeline.
Yeah, like basically Rain is everyone.
yeah,
Yes.
I hate this.
That story got so convoluted towards the end.
That's
Yes.
a little much. That's a little much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was convinced that it was Lasswell too, so
Same.
that was a twist to me when it
That was
turned up.
actually, I was like, he looks like old Lasswell, who just finally loosened up and is a bit of a jerk now. And I'm like, I can
Yeah.
dig this. Turns out to be Rain. What?
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
what?
especially given that we also there were some clues that pushed in this direction, like the fact that Rain is a terrible cook, but Akstar was a great cook.
Yeah, they really lead you on, and that was pretty funny.
I appreciate a red herring, but I kind of don't feel like that was a red herring so much as it was
Exactly.
a giant just confusion factory.
Yeah.
Just it hurts. It hurts my brain.
Indeed.
Yeah.
They did mention some things in the story part of the event, like how Akstar finds the sense of the fake Akstar's nicknaming very, very strange.
Yeah.
Like, who the hell calls their apprentice Lassworm? Seriously.
Good.
I loved it.
But yeah, as far as his brave shifted form goes, it's basically more ice damage. This time actually ice locked, and more human killers instead of dragon killers.
Oh, okay. Kill humans.
Oh, and true dual wield instead of true double hand.
Yes, of course. That makes sense.
Of course. His LB becomes better too, since it's a similar modifier, but completely backloaded.
Oh.
And from the number of hits, it looks like it basically chains with a triple cast Absolute Mirror of Equity.
Ah, nice.
No confirmation, but that would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have him. For some reason, I just didn't even really look into his kit. Probably more so because I'm not going to pull on that banner.
Yeah, makes sense. Which is why we at Gathering of Gachas aim to provide the hottest, latest information.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's... again, I've said this a lot. If we have any goal as a podcast, it's to inform players and to help them make decisions that are right for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anytime we can do that, I feel good.
Yeah. I still find it always a bit weird when there's a new unit, NV unit, with CG LB, and you want to use the Brave Shifted LB, which doesn't have the CG.
Yeah, I wish they would just put them on both. What kind of decision making is
that?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. They should put it on both.
Didn't some of the upgraded, what do you call it, the Awakened NV characters just keep their CG throughout their Brave Shift form?
Nope.
Oh, never mind. I thought I heard
all the Brave Shifted units don't have SCG. And a lot of Brave Shifted units want to use LB in the Brave Shifted form.
Oh,
that was the case for Wayne too.
I thought like Hyo or someone had both. Like you could see the CG on the other side as well.
I don't know.
Not that I know of.
Yeah. I have my Lasswell, but I don't have him at the EX yet. So, yeah.
Well, I do, so I can talk about it with good knowledge.
Okay.
Because he's next. Pyroglacial Lasswell getting his Brave Shift.
Yay!
I have to say, aesthetically,
I was saving that.
You were.
I
and
really like the stance he adopts in his Brave Shifted form.
Yes.
It's just so classy, you know?
Yeah. Okay. I love me some Lasworm. And this time I finally have him. Because I didn't pull a Lasswell, PG Lasswell, for a very long time. And I actually only... I think, like, during the Neovision era, pulled his STMR because I ran it through Item World for the first time. So, I'm stoked that I can use him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And he's actually pretty damn good. He's one of the very, very usable NV Awakening.
Nice. Yeah, I'm noticing, though, that he caps out on attack and...
yeah, that's one of his double-edged sword kind of situation. His stats are enormous, and he keeps them up real fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which does mean he has a lot of room for killers.
Exactly.
Okay, that's good.
Or HP.
Yeah, or even some increased ability, increased stat gain from Esper equips.
Right. Yeah, I don't have too much of those materials, unfortunately, but yes, he has a lot of variability.
Recently.
I could not, I gotta be honest, I could not figure out how to use, I couldn't figure out how to use it for the life of me, how to use, Tidus's STMR.
Yeah, well, it's
like
because...
my brain was just not doing it.
Well, back then, you really didn't cap out too much, but now when it's so easy to cap, it's like, well, I have nothing else I can put on him. Let's throw Tidus's STMR on now and give him a small amount more stats. That's kind of how it works.
Yeah, it's better tankiness at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
In any case, as far as his kit goes, he gains some more Absolute Mirror of Equity chaining moves with really high modifiers.
Okay.
One of them, Mirror of Equity Totality, is also a 3-turn 80% defense break, meaning that Rufus is obsolete on the banner he comes out.
Wow!
Yep.
Wow, and this is an old unit doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Rufus's turn 1 cast was an 84% break. But that's a pretty small difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Significant.
In that
It
case.
exists, but I don't think the rest. I mean, for starters, Rufus's break isn't
Whoop,
attached to a
whoop.
40 times modifier, 50% defense ignore move.
Yeah.
I just pulled Neo Vision Aerith.
Congrats!
Very nice.
I
Congrats.
did my world revisit.
Life pool.
Yes. Oh, and I get the free pull. That was my third one. Oh, I get one more. Let's see what happens.
Good luck.
Right.
Yo, world revisit quests for the win. Oh, yeah, I got Aerith. I'm stoked.
That's awesome. Congrats,
I've
dude.
spent $0 on any on this game in forever, and now I have Cloud and Aerith. Yes.
So
Yeah.
now we're just waiting for Remake Tifa to show up.
Up. Ah, that was lame. Well, crystal popped from blue to rainbow, and it was a barrel.
Aw.
Well then.
Yeah, that's all right. All right, cool.
So let's return to Pyroglacial Lasswell, shall we?
yes.
Sounds good.
So he has very strong setup moves, and he has a Brave Shift,
Okay.
which gives him really beefy moves as well. Locks him to Ice Element, however.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a 150% LB damage increase on a Grandis ability, which he can use only once. But this does give him a huge ice physical LB move as well.
Mm.
But I think one of the main appeal, and I've heard one of the main appeal of Lasswell is that, say for his one dip into his Brave Shifted form and LB,
Mhm.
otherwise his main way to deal the most damage is just to spam the same skill 3 times in a row.
Right.
So, and it's something that he can do from turn 1, so he is convenient and easy to use on top of being a stat monster.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, let's do it.
So yeah, Envy Lasswell, highly recommended.
Yes. Yeah, so far he is nice.
That sounds great, actually.
And then there's 2 other units which we should cover pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
First is Lively Steward Shinju,
Mm-hmm.
which is a 5-star base, 7-star version of the very same Shinju from the Madame's Manor.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Good for her. Congrats on her upgrade. I always
yeah,
kind of like
sure.
her. She's the one with the whip, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I did get her
And
mixed
her
up.
TMR as a proof is 60% whip mastery with a weird 10% MP increase attached.
That does sound weird.
Her STMR though looks very, very good.
Okay.
Accessory, the Steward's Pumps, which is 55 base attack and 50% attack. Unconditional.
All right.
And then some MP for good measure.
Yeah, why not?
That sounds like a very solid STMR to have.
Yes.
I definitely don't hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
Okay, so Shinju was the one with the whip. Which one was the air mage? The wind mage?
The Air Mage was Lexa.
Lexa. That's okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Ah,
She's coming up on Madame's actual banner.
Okay. I didn't know she would also get an upgrade. So good for good for Team Adele.
Yeah.
All of her stuff is getting an upgrade, I think.
Uh-huh.
But for Shinju herself, she has a lot of Stardust Weight chaining moves, Earth Elemental attached, pretty low modifier, all things considered.
Right.
She is pretty much the current expectation of a 4-star unit with a little bit of buffed up, and sure, that's our 7 stars now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, she's not bad to the level of a 7-star at the beginning of the 7-star era,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, she isn't really up to par with the current power levels.
Yeah, that's what makes it's kind of weird. I even though I said this about Rufus too, like these they're kind of dead on arrival. It's kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least I'm glad she gets a useful SCMR.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's some reason to have her as a side result from other possible pools.
Right.
And then we have our 3 unit, which is Stylish Steward Pecciotta.
Oh, yeah. What a cute little dude.
That was the fuzzy butler.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuzzy butler.
Okay, then remind me who was the one with the muscles?
It's Elvis.
Elvis, yeah.
Elvis.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. And then...
yeah.
Which is also on the banner with Lexa.
Mhm.
Okay. I think they were
And-
a team, weren't they? So that makes
Yeah,
sense.
they
Yeah.
were.
And then later, I don't think it came out in JP, but I imagine we'll get a banner with Erwin and Amber.
Yeah. Man,
Okay,
Elvis should get a
Erwin-
brave shift. He should get a
Erwin
brave shift.
is the one with the ice katana, the first one you deal with.
Right. And then who's the
Yeah.
last one?
Amber is the elf, the green-haired one.
Did I ever
Oh,
meet
I
her?
forgot about her.
I don't think...
She is the Madame's oldest friend.
I don't think I got that far, unfortunately. I think I stopped playing before she was introduced, sadly.
Cool character.
Yeah.
Cool.
Alright, now for Pecciotta. His TMR is named So Cute It's Criminal. And it's honestly pretty interesting, pretty useful to have.
Okay.
It's a 40% attack
Mm-hmm.
and a 20% increased chance to be targeted.
20%.
Draw
So it
attack.
So that means that you can, say, use it on a damage dealer instead of having to equip the Moogle plushie shield and actually use them as DPS with True Double Hand or True Dual Wield.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
I
Very useful to have.
actually really like that TMR. That may be my favorite item, you've talked about today overall, because that's the
Yeah.
only one with, like, crazy weird utility.
Yeah.
And it's free.
I'll probably
And it's
use
free.
it for.
I love it.
Yeah, I'll probably use it on Cypher, as he can sometimes want that.
Exactly.
Maybe.
And then his STMR is a 152 attack throwing weapon with 50% bird, human, dragon, and plant killer,
Okay.
Cool.
which is decent
Mm-hmm.
for those that can equip throwing weapon,
Right.
Yeah.
which are becoming more common now that I've accepted that it's over. The fixed dice meta has been dead for years now.
Oh, finally.
I always thought
Oh,
it was
finally.
dumb anyway. I hated
the fixed dice meta.
Yeah.
I thought it was dumb, but I'll be damned if I didn't use it for Regina.
Yeah, I just refused. I
Yeah.
refused to dignify it personally. That was one of my big upsets. It was one of those things where it was like, here's this weird cheesy RNG method, and I'm like, if anyone watched the YouTube video of my Gilgamesh attempts in 3 days of trying to use Balthier, RNG in that game was just not my friend, or at least combat RNG was just not my friend.
Yeah.
Very much.
Wow. So my naked Aerith with pots but not doors yet has 970 spirit.
Wow.
And her
That
brave shift 960 magic. Damn.
Yeah.
Time to throw some doors on her. All right, back to our regular scheduled program.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pecciotta has absolutely no equity moves. Most of them bring breaks to attack or magic,
Okay.
or both,
Mhm.
but no break of defense on spirit. And his only real utility aside from those is his ability to do a perfect dispel, either as a 8-turn cooldown or as his LB.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's good utility to have on a free unit,
Yeah.
but that's pretty much where he stands, period.
Right.
Support AMOE chainer and perfect dispel utility.
Okay. That doesn't sound awful for a free unit, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, really, you're just probably not going to use him. You just want that TMR.
No. Here's the
TMR.
thing. I don't treat the free units as something veterans want, because we really
Right.
don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I treat it as things for new players, and that sounds like some really cool
Exactly.
utility for new players.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's cute.
Yeah,
So cute
there's
it's
always
criminal.
that. So cute it's criminal.
So it is criminal indeed. Then, to finally close our FFVE segment,
Please, because we've been going for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
we have the Coeurl trial, the Whip-Whiskered Beast. And it's a trial with some interesting mechanics about paralysis and magic damage that ignores both cover and provoke, And you can ignore all of that if you bring enough raw power and Tifa to one-punch it.
Ah, yes, more Tifa one-punching everything.
I mean, that's kind of what she's good at.
Yeah.
Which is actually
And
not accurate, because in Remake, she wasn't so much a one-hitter. That was more Aerith's job. She was the combo queen.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
And so he can be powered through. So let's talk briefly about his reward. He has a hat with 51 attack and magic, and 50% lightning resist. Pretty decent.
Yeah.
He has a materia with increased LB damage and autofill LB gauge at the start of battle. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And he has the blaster. It's a materia that's an active ability, and it doesn't literally win you the game, so it's useless.
Is there sarcasm there? Or?
No, I mean, at this point, the only active ability that has any use is
True.
the Kekchua one, which provides a stack of Mirage.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
It's an
none of
active
those
ability.
have
They just don't
really
work
been
anymore.
good. Yeah.
There was a couple, like in the early, like the late 6-star days, there were a couple that worked. Like I remember I was using, I think it was
World
Bloody
Destroyer?
Moons. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was that one, and then it was Bloody Moons. Both were actually pretty useful if I absolutely
And Frozen
had to.
Tornado allowed you to chain with Tornado as well.
Oh, yeah. That one was
Yeah.
decent back in the day. I used to use Cradle of Thorns when I would do my trials with my weird team trials.
That
So
was another good
always
one, yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, no. Bye.
Yeah, no, we're way past the point where active abilities have any use.
And we're way past the point where we should have ended FFVE.
Yeah.
So let's
We
talk about
really
Arknights.
are. Okay, so Arknights. This is an eventful week because we have our second contingency contract, and this is actually handled way better than the last one. So a contingency...
As a reminder, the contingency contract, they're the weekliest for missions with variation.
Sort of. So, how contingency contract works is it will give you one permanent stage throughout the 2 weeks, and then a rotating daily stage, and then they've added training stages on top.
Okay.
And what you...
That sounds important.
It actually is, because those training stages actually give rewards. So, you do want to clear them. So what happens is you actually get to add difficulty every time you do one of these stages, and the more difficulty you add, the more rewards you get up to a cap.
Right.
For the training stages, it's up to risk 4, as what we call it. So like 4 levels of debuffs, and debuffs challenges can come in 1, 2, or 3 variants. So a 3 and a 1 would max you out. The daily stages come at risk 8. They max out rewards there. And then the permanent stage appears to max out at risk 18.
Okay.
So
That sounds like it's going to kick you in the shin more times than a few.
really did last time as well. Basically, you're spending most of the time you're going to spend the entire 2 weeks period trying to get your team together and trying to get your strategy going for that maximum risk contingency contract.
It is a nice reminder of why the energy is named Sanity.
Yes. But that's also funny because contingency contract costs a whole 0 sanity.
Oh, okay.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, you literally don't spend any sanity resource at all on contingency contract. It's free to do and you get rewards as long as you beat the stages.
Okay.
You don't get experience, you don't get LMD, you don't get trust for beating the stages, so it doesn't have your standard stage rewards, but you do get coins which you can spend in a shop, which gives a lot of that. So, it is...
Wasn't there costumes as part of the shop too?
Yes, in the first time there was a unique costume for Siege. This time the costume is a repeat of the very first costume in the entire game, which is a newsgirl costume for Amiya, your primary free unit.
Of course.
So you actually get another chance at the very first reward in the game. You also get
That's cool.
5-star promotion tokens, not promotion tokens, potential tokens, which are nice. Normally you need dupes to get that.
Ooh.
You get a bunch of rare mats, you get LMD. You get a new welfare unit for CC called Bibik, who's actually, this is a concept I want to talk about. It's reverse power creep. She's basically a miniature Chen. Now, I've talked about Chen a lot, but Chen is this big honking 6-star, just difficult character to get, obviously, very, very powerful. Bibik, released much later, is a welfare unit, is basically a weaker version of her. So that's basically telling the audience, well, not many people are going to have this very powerful unit, so we're going to give a weaker and easier to get one to you guys. Enjoy.
Okay.
So that's the rate 13 to Chen's Tifa. Except that both are not on the same rarity level.
That, and by your analogy, Tifa's the free one. In this case,
Oh, so no, I meant it inverted then.
Oh, yeah. Basically, it works like that.
Oh, I'm getting important update from Gator Fox in the chat. I am told she's a maid. That is very important information.
Yes, she's a maid bird girl. She's a Liberi. I don't really know why that's relevant, but hey, if you want her because she's a maid, awesome. Personally, I already have Chen. I use her a ton. So I'm not sure how often I will use Bibik, but for anyone who doesn't have Chen, she's amazing.
Nice.
Excellent.
So yeah, the shop is nice and refined. The UI of the contingency contract and how it's set up is very, very well done. They'll actually...
And honestly, now that I think of it, I could imagine scenarios where you want Chen and Mini Chen.
I'm trying to think, but Chen's whole thing is, I was going to get to that when we got to the Bannergeister, but yes, we do have a second reverse power creep character in the form of Utage, who is a miniature Helliger. Helliger being a weird, self-sustained duelist type you put in a corner, and you only put like one unit who can't be a healer over there to help out, and that's it.
All right.
Yep. I remember his utility this way.
Yeah, basically, he hits decently hard, not as hard as like Scotty or even Franka, but instead he has just a bunch of self-healing, but he can't be healed by outside sources. He can't be directly healed. So, it's a very unique kind of character archetype, and now it's less unique because now we have Utage, who's a 4-star version of General Helliger. I still really want Helliger, even though I have Utage. But, another reverse power creep character. So we got 2, one on the banner and one as a welfare unit for the actual contingency contract event. Now...
Don't talk to me or my son ever again.
Sure.
Yeah?
What?
That's the archetype. That's the don't talk to me or my son ever again unit.
Okay. I don't understand meme brain, not internet. Sorry.
No problem.
Where was I? My train of thought just completely derailed on that one.
Somewhere.
I think you were going to jump on where you can get Utage.
Yes. Well, I want to finish talking, however, briefly about this first.
Okay.
So the big thing with this contingency contract is first, unlike last time, you can't just throw a bunch of challenges at yourself right out of the gate. You actually have to unlock the ability to use the challenges. So you actually have to first, they make you beat the stage without any challenges attached before you can even start doing level 1 challenges.
That would make sense.
It does make sense, but it also means you can't do what I did a lot last time, which is throw 8 levels of challenges on there and just throw my face at the wall and see what happens. Secondly, the training stages actually include all of the stages from last contingency contract, which was really cool. Third, this actually splits the shop up into 2 different points. You have the permanent shop, which includes the costume, Bibik and her tokens, and the general promotion tokens. Not promotion, general potential tokens, the dupe tokens.
Right.
And then you have a one-time only shop, which is just for this event, which is also really cool. It just really smooths out the whole process. It also includes some really banging new music, like the actual new stage.
Oh,
The theme is really cool.
we like those.
Oh yeah.
I've talked very favorably.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
it sounds like they took what is already a pretty cool type of event and made it even better.
They did. They really improved upon the event. They gave us a welfare unit. The last one didn't have that. They gave us the ongoing shop. So if you can't finish Bibique this time, you can next time CC rolls around. And my understanding is it will roll around more often. It's basically going to be our equivalent of Dark Visions.
Ah, nice.
Indeed.
And then there's the big one, which is this new banner that came out, which is the Bagpipe banner. And that yeah,
Oh, man.
well,
That was my bagpipe impression.
I liked it. I can get behind it.
fair enough.
I've never been to Scotland. Not one.
Well, Bagpipe is a Scottish redhead dragon girl, who
But
is one of the most powerful characters in the entire Vanguard class. Like, she's up there in Siege Land, which is you can use her not as a Vanguard at all.
Hmm.
Siege is the other character who does that, and Siege is like, she's basically a guard in disguise who also just generates a bunch of deploy points for you. That's kind of what Bagpipe does. She hits way above her weight class, especially for her deploy cost.
Right.
all right.
We already talked about Utage, and then the last one is Seisa, and I don't know anything about Seisa at all. Unfortunately, I just have no information on Seisa. Pulling for this banner was actually very difficult because as of right now, for a 6-week period, Arknights decided it wanted to go almost FFBE fast because we have a 6-star banner every 2 weeks for the last 6 weeks. First we had
Ooh.
Neon, then we had Siobi, now we have Bagpipe. It's actually going fast now, and I'm like, I don't have the resources for this.
Right. Ay.
Well then.
Yeah, that's the thing I like about Arknights is actually that it tends to take itself pretty chill, but there's no chill here. I'm actually now very concerned that we're not.
They've hit cruise speed.
Yeah, they're actually I was expecting W, who is our second limited unit, to show up around December or so.
Right.
Now I'm starting to think she's going to show up next month.
Huh.
I could be
That's
in
nice.
Las Vegas for Ryan's wedding, and W could debut,
Uh-oh.
which will terrify me. Because, again, I don't have the resources for this, and I went ahead and I did do a couple of brief polls on this,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a 6-star. Hooray!
Hooray!
It's
Hooray.
Schwarz. Schwarz was our summer unit. And she is a sniper in she is a sniper in name only. Her class is sniper, and she does use a crossbow, but her whole thing is extreme close-range boss killing,
Yeah.
which is the exact
I
opposite
remember
of a
that.
sniper.
Weird kind of design.
Yeah.
Very weird design. I would actually call her arguably a troll 6-star, but there are no troll 6-stars in Arknights. Everyone has a niche, everyone's useful. I've always found
She does have a lot of power, it's just very narrow.
it's very narrow and kind of difficult to use and kind of difficult to line up, and I already have a character who does the very narrow high power thing, and that's Ifrit, who's combined with a ridiculously powerful debuffer. So, I kind of need a long corridor with 2 open spaces, one for Ifrit, one for Schwarz, right next to each other, aiming down that corridor in order to maximize their potential at once. It's very strange. That said, the universe gave me a new 6-star. I'm gonna use her.
Yeah.
Love your off banners.
Be kind to your off banners.
Be kind to your off banners.
Mm-hmm.
It also makes my second boss killer in a row because Siobi is primarily a boss killer as well. So
Right.
having both of those at once is a very interesting experience. I don't know. The speed of the game right now is really starting to give me a headache. It's like, at the very least, I know I can skip the next 6-star banner, assuming we continue going on China's schedule, which we have been.
Right.
Although then again, one thing the data mine did show up was something. Oh, I just realized. No, we might be getting the achievement system early too. The data mine found the tickets specific to the achievement system, which came with the 1-year anniversary in Hong Kong and W's banner. Which again leads me to believe we're going to get that early, which is awful because I really wanted to save more resources. Okay, so quick recap because I've been powering through this. Contingency contract event. It is a daily rotating stage event plus the permanent stage. Cool music, really refined compared to the first time around. Great rewards. Good for beginners as well because you can hold off and get the welfare unit next time if things really become necessary to do so.
Right.
Second, we got the new banner with Bagpipe, who is excellent, but we're really close to W, so I cannot pull anymore as much as I want her. Again, cute Scottish redhead superpowered Vanguard is like, that is a list of words that to an Arknights player is pretty darn nice.
And to a non-Knights player, it's pretty darn nice still.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I agree.
And then, the game speed is really ramped up to a point where saving between banners is pretty okay. The next banner in Hong Kong, if we go by the schedule, was Phantom, and Phantom is a fast redeploy, and I don't tend to use fast redeploy.
Okay.
So,
you're good.
I will actually be able to just do up to bonus on this banner.
Nice.
I'm being told Sesa is an AoE splash damage debuffer, and all enemies he blocks receives more damage. Is he a specialist?
Hmm.
You know what? Let me take a brief moment and look him up. I probably should have done that. So, Sesa is a AoE range sniper, a la Meteorite or W or Shirayuki. When deployed, all blocked units take plus 7% physical damage, so that's basically Skyfire's ability, but for physical instead of magical. Skill 1 is just plain old attack up, so nothing fancy there. Skill 2, delayed concussive parts. Attacks turn into delayed detonation grenades that deal extra physical damage and increase the attack speed of enemies. An attack speed slower. Oh, that's neat. At skill level 7, which is generally speaking where you're going to want just about everybody, it's extra physical damage, it's attack speed for 10, which is cool. It's a manual trigger. It lasts 27 seconds and it takes 44 seconds to build. So, okay, interesting. Skill 2 sounds very interesting. Okay, Sesa's not bad at all. This is a good banner. Between Bagpipe, who is the awesome DP on Kill Vanguard, Sesa, who's a really cool AoE sniper, and finally, Utage, who's Mini Helliger.
Yeah, lots of cool units, it seems.
Yeah.
This game is good at that. I mean, like, again, it stands to the point where it's like, I got what I would consider to be one of the worst 6-stars in the game, and I'm still power leveling the crud out of her because I know she will be useful. It's not even a question of if, it's when.
Ah, there we go. Nice.
And she's bad in heavy air quotes. Like, she's near the bottom of
come
where
a day where she's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. It's always good that there's no real troll units who you just pull and are just garbage. And you're never
there's a
gonna
couple
use them.
in the 5-star range who I don't like so much, who I don't think work. Province has an issue where she's another short-range sniper like Schwarz, but she only targets things that have less than 50% hit points. And then I've made it clear I really don't like Flamebringer and how he works, but he's a welfare unit, so you can basically ignore him anyway.
Right.
There's a couple of bad units who aren't, like, all that great, but generally speaking, none of the 6-stars fall into that. The two worst 6 stars who are Schwarz and Scotty, I mean, they're both still going to be useful. They're both massive stat sticks, and Schwarz absolutely dominates bosses if you get into the right scenario, so...
Yeah, then. Well, there you go.
Geister says, Flamebringer is about the only really bad unit. Maybe Province 2, but she's too cute to say bad things about her. She is very cute. She has an incredibly fluffy tail.
Nice.
That said, yeah, Province is a unit who I'm just like, I know I'm never going to deploy her, especially since, like, 3 days after I buy her from the Distinction Shop, I got Schwarz anyway. So I'm like, all right, well, Province is absolutely dead to me because Schwarz could do everything Province could do, but better anyway. Shrug. Yeah, no,
The fluffy tail can dust off the bench.
Yeah, the fluffy tail can dust off the bench, unfortunately. 'Tis a shame, but that is life.
Yeah.
And that is about all I gotta say on Arknights. I hope I got through that relatively quick.
Cool.
There you
All right, well...
War of the Visions, go!
Yes, back over to War of the Visions.
War of the Visions. Indeed. So, first let's talk about what came with the second part of the FFT banner.
Okay.
Which involved first the ability to summon again for a focus of Orlando or Ramsay if you really want them but didn't have them yet.
Right.
Okay.
Which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But the big pièce de résistance of this second week of FFT is a Midnight's Deep.
Yes. It was a tower-like event, but FF Tactics themed.
Which sounds great, because we like Porcelain Tower and we like FFT.
Right. Was it, though?
There's a but. I mean, for me, there's a but. I don't know how you feel, but...
I mean, to be honest, I would... So, well, I guess we should explain for now. So...
Yes, so... Go ahead.
Yeah, so the map, upon when you first get into it, is completely dark. And you can see your units, you can kind of, technically see the enemy units, but you can't see anything else in terms of the map until you...
The map are also deliberately windy and play with elevation.
Yes.
So you can't even rely fully on that.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to kill, KO units and their crystals when they finally...
This so far sounds exactly like this stage in FF Tactics.
Exactly.
This is exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep. It's exactly the same thing. So, I mean, to me, it was a little annoying. I could have done without it, but I did like that it was another tower event. So I had my fun with it.
Yes. I like the tower event, but for the second tower event, it was a bit gimmicky, maybe, to have the units completely plunged in the dark.
Yeah.
Right. But again, if you're going to do a take on Midnight's Deep, at least they're doing it right. So, like...
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I appreciated that. I mean, it was...
There is one key difference between this version and FFT's original, which is that here you have an auto mode.
That is a big difference.
True.
Yeah, the AI knows the terrain.
Oh, I didn't even try... Well, I autoed a couple levels, but the downside of
it won't save you for the two last stage in particular.
That's cheating.
But for the earlier ones, a little.
That's true.
That's the thing I dislike now. The AI knows the terrain. That's not how you Midnight Deep.
That's funny.
The enemy AI knows the terrain too. It's leveling the playing field.
Well, I mean, to your credit,
that's the whole point.
What you really want to do in that last stage anyway is just stay in one spot so you don't aggro all of the damn chocobos. So I guess it doesn't really help you.
And camping also means that you can let some crystals actually form up instead of just charging forward in the dark.
Yeah. It was cool because I had what the last tower event taught me was that I need to level up a few more units, because one thing they tell you...
And now we prepared.
Yeah, so I was prepared. So it took me... it only took me 2... and there's only 10 floors as well, but it only took me 2 days to clear it completely. Or 3, I think. Yeah.
Ooh, nice. You're better than me in that respect. I did stumble a little bit against the second to last stage with the high evade unit.
Yeah. That one was a little tough. That one was both of them were about the same. That I got to floor 9 day 1. I cleared that and got to the chocobos day 2 and lost. And then so day 3, that's when I cleared it. Although second time around, it only took me 1 extra. I was like, oh, cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, but I've got a lot of.
So
units.
Pretty fun still.
Yeah, I like it because it is kind of rare. A lot of War of the Visions is just grind, autoing and this
and that's much more of a challenge.
Yeah,
you could finally use those units that you've been grinding for.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's pretty rewarding. Mostly emotionally, because as far as the actual rewards go, well, the sword is not bad.
Right. It's not a bad sword.
And there's a sword with specific enhancement materials that is ideal for physical ice units, such as Aerith.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's where she gets her ready-made sword ready to use, and that won't take you 5 years to farm and enhance.
Yeah, I was stoked because, I've got a couple, physical units who need swords, so I didn't really have a good sword for her. I was throwing on a basic ice brand, so that wasn't working out too well. So this was a nice way to get her
because ice
up.
brand is more tailor-made for Gilgamesh with its hybrid stats.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so now she's got her own little sword. And fun fact on here, I was also able to spend nothing more than the however many $1 a day to get Agrius's shards, and I was able to max limit burst her. So finally,
turns out the way they've actually enhanced the shard appearance rate in the shard, it's and I've heard this echo a lot. It really shows.
Yes.
Because right now, they have, I think, every Whimsy shop has a guarantee to have at least one of the banner units as having shards there.
Yeah, only
that's
3, but
more...
that's actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 several times every day, that adds up.
Yeah.
And that's a big element of reliability that really missed from the shard farm for limited units, I feel.
Exactly. Yeah, and the fact that the banner goes so much longer, they gave you her quests. I mean, it's not too difficult to max her out, and the Chocobo expedition are actually very, very good with these compared to Warrior of Light. I think the whole time I got maybe 3 or something, and
I was still farming on the wind elemental one because I want my Tetrasil feed max.
Okay.
Oh no, I threw mine in there, and actually I got the last 10 just in the past 4 days. I was waiting for those last 10 from the daily login we're gonna get, I think, tomorrow. And today I was able to max her out. I got 10 in just a few days. I said, okay, cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I'm glad about that.
Yeah, at this point, it almost feels like I could feasibly start saving up for a limited time unit that I really, really like. None of the FF4 ones, I like them, but not that much.
Right.
But if, say, they come up with a cool Terra, or a cool Shantoto, or a cool unit like that, I could see myself actually saving up and going through the limited unit grind again.
Right. Yeah.
Know that it's better than during the first Orlando farm.
Yeah, it really is. The fact that, I didn't come in with much, maybe 10 to 12,000 Visior, however you want to say it, Visior,
because it's Vision Or. We've been over this.
I know. Now I remember. So, it's actually realistic. So I'm gonna start my saving for Kain, as it'll be nice to get another pure DPS unit.
All right. Well, I'm not going to start saving at all because I'm in full investment mode.
All right.
I've got a lot of units to level up, including what could lead to a full mage party.
Oh.
because it turns out I did get Kilfe of Banner previously, I still have my Medina maxed.
Right.
And since I thought her design was cool, I pulled a little and got Ildyra, the Arithmetician,
Nice.
which is the latest unit.
Ah, yeah.
I remember.
So, Arithmetician, obviously you're expecting some play on numbers and ways to have spells that work differently depending on some very unusual parameters.
Right.
And your expectations would be met.
Mm-hmm.
So, she's a water elemental unit with main job Arithmetician and side jobs Spellblade and Black Mage.
Right.
Story-wise, she is Queen Elena Leonis' personal guard.
Oh.
And I'm looking forward to the day Elena will return, because last time she disappeared, she just said, I'm just going to go into the wilds and start going nuclear on everyone.
Yeah.
As a pure revenge.
Yeah, I like that. I'm waiting to see what happens there.
I was almost disappointed there wasn't a story event with her, honestly.
Oh, man. Perhaps there could be one coming. I mean, we never know.
Yeah. It could be weird like that. Her TMR is also very interesting.
Right.
Because it's an armor
Mm-hmm.
with some reasonable spirit, crit evade, and HP.
Mm-hmm.
But it also has a skill which has a range of 2 squares and lets you switch your location with an enemy and bestow Quicken on self, which means that you basically have one action for free
Right.
where you swap spot with an enemy.
That's really good.
That sounds like it can be very fun for some weird tactical situations.
Definitely.
And I'm all for
Oh,
it.
yeah. Yeah.
No, then. For her LB,
Mm-hmm.
she has almost a time mage utility. It's basically a haste that hits in a cross shape that's 1 square long,
Mm-hmm.
and it has increased effect when her level is multiples of 3.
Oh,
Which does include the current max level cap of 99, of course.
Yes.
But it's basically better to have her at level 96 than at level 97 or 98 because of that.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that's going to be something that will come back a lot in her Arithmetician abilities. She has, for instance, height-based water,
Mm-hmm.
which increased based on the target's height. Not how tall they are, but if on the terrain they're on level 3, for instance,
Right.
it deals increased damage.
That'd be funny.
I think for this one, it's more that the lower they are, the most effective it is.
Okay, yeah.
No, that's the opposite. The higher they are, the most effective it is.
Oh, okay.
Same for the Cure spell, which is height-based Cure. She also has a height-free Holy and Cura, which deal increased effects if the height is on a multiple of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Or level 4 Waterga, which increases potency on units whose level is a multiple of 4.
Yeah, I like
Which
that.
includes actually a lot of the units in the tower-like events.
Oh.
There's a lot of level 20, a lot of level 80 units on the high end.
Right.
Then you also get some water spell if you main Arithmetician her. There's a height 3 disable on an AoE as well.
Mhm.
And also an interesting spell which is city average, and it's in a pretty wide AoE, 2 square long on each side, and it averages the charge time of everything within. So it's basically like steal time, but in an AoE and equalized with all the units in the AoE.
Huh.
Help! I barely understood what you just said.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's
so...
Yeah.
So steal time slows them down.
Yeah.
It's almost like a stop in a way, but not really.
Kinda. The way it works is that you use an action.
Right.
Then your charge time is at 0.
Mm-hmm.
You gain every tick charge time dependent on your agility. When it reaches 1000, you can act again. That's how the order of action is decided. So basically, you can steal up to half of a unit's turn to give it to your own unit.
Right. But this one is AoE, right?
Yes, exactly. So it's a very weird skill. And then there's two very interesting passives, which are height 3 to height 2 and level 4 to level 3, which change the level in which the skill has more effect. For instance, if you're going against level 99 enemies and you want to make the most of your level 4 Watera, you're better off using level 4 to level 3 as a passive, and then has level 3 Watera.
That sounds complicated, man.
Yeah, that's an arithmetician for you. If it wasn't complicated, I would call heresy.
Yeah, that's true. I'm an English guy, man. Language, English, so I don't have too much of an interest in this stuff.
She's very much into maths instead.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, there's also a spell blade which can provide water blade, Watera blade, and Waterga blade.
Okay.
That are more understandable.
Yeah. Very much so. That's yeah.
And then she has a black mage job in which she can use Drain, which is always very nice in the tower events for self-sustain.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And other than that, she has she is squish, but she does resist, especially with her unlockable passive at level 40, AoE damage.
Okay.
But yeah, she is a very interesting mage. Some raw power that gets better if you know what's coming.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I like that they did this. You know, I like that they made a cool, unique unit.
And I like that I got her.
Yeah.
I will say, however, so she's a magic character, but she doesn't use staff. Instead, she uses maces.
Oh, so that's why we have the
conveniently,
mace.
Yeah, that's why we have the platinum mace as one of the 2 farmable weapons on the current farm weapon event.
Right.
The other being the Coeurl sword.
Yes.
Which is a sword that's a little bit less high-end than some of the sword we have, but it provides bonus damage when the unit deals lightning elemental damage. Like Orlando.
Yes, he loves that sword, that's for sure.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. So you have good weapons for narrow situations, which means that if you don't have an Ildyra or the only other unit that can use mace effectively, which is Machery, you don't really need to go hard on the platinum mace thing.
Yeah, I cleared it my times to get the achievement, and I'm focusing on my Coeurl sword now.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm glad that they don't really force you to go for both farming stages, because even with the new auto refill, it's a lot.
Yeah. Too much.
And yes, guys, the folks, you do have to go in if you want Machery to have a +5 weapon, even better than the ones that exist currently.
Nice.
Now then, there were 2 other little bit of news. The first was the 6 months cooldown part 3, which has some of the expected stuff. Is a login bonus, is as sharp. Nothing that was really worth covering, but I did want to spend a little more time covering the daily free 10 pool.
Yes, that's an interesting mechanic because it's daily 10, but weird daily 10.
Yeah. Yes, so you get your daily 10, but the first thing you pull is a MR or more unit, so second to best rarity or best rarity, and the rest is material.
Yes.
Which you can get from the normal pool you get for free 3 times a day.
So it's...
But what makes it seem really cool is that every time you pull and you get an MR unit, you get the gauge, which feels similar to how the banner works now, where if you fill it to 100%, you get a UR guaranteed.
Right. So in a way...
That sounds great. That would have been great. But the event lasts 7 days.
Wait, what?
The gauge charges... Yes, it's only for 7 days, and the gauge charges 10% for each pool.
No.
So if you want to actually fill the bar, you need to purchase additional tickets. Additional tickets which are only available for paid Visio.
No, that's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, you played this game actively more than me, and you didn't notice that because it's sneaky and it stinks.
Yeah.
I hate when they have these caveats to this and these little stars and this please with the terms and conditions.
Unfortunate, yeah. Not a fan.
It's just greed at this point,
It
and
is.
I hate everything about it.
Yeah. That's terrible. Yeah, I didn't catch that part in the news. I just assumed like a fool, and you know the saying that I won't say here of what happens when you assume.
Says it ends on the 16th.
Yeah, I just assumed it was going to go for at least 10 days. I thought 10 days, cool. On that 10th day, I'll get a free unit. No.
Nope.
Exactly.
Wow.
And on top of that, it would have needed to be the 11th day.
Oh, true. Yeah, because 10 and then, oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, no, so you can only get the guaranteed MR if you get the ticket or the ticket pack.
Oh, that is awful.
That ain't happening,
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Agreed.
Yeah, bye.
And I say agreed with emphasis on the word greed on purpose.
Yup.
Yeah. Dang it. Why you gotta do this to me, War of the Visions?
Why you gotta do this to all of us?
Yeah.
You don't. You are fine, game. You don't need to do this sort of things.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm telling you, and that's what worries me for the long-term life of this game.
Yeah.
It's such a great game, you know, other than this stupid stuff that they have to pull occasionally. And all I can hope is that they start to learn, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
And that's part of why I will not be silent on every single occurrence of things like that, because it needs to be heard and it needs to show how there are these little annoyances that pile up more and more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We did get some other news in the 5th Frontline World Divisions, which is the newsletter where they introduce you to a few features.
Right.
And this one, I think it showed up today, and introduces not really a lot of relevant UI stuff. It's mostly some AI improvement for the auto farming, some shortcuts that facilitate things, the ability to have your auto repeat cancelled if you have a Whimsy Shop or a Chocobo expedition that drops.
Yes.
If you're really going after that.
Yes.
And Withers lookup for crafting recipes, which is a popular feature and certainly practical. But the main thing they've announced is the Trails of Reckoning, which will start in 2 weeks, the 23rd of September.
Okay.
And I'll read you the description and you will tell me what it makes you think of.
Okay, let's hear it.
New event, Trails of Reckoning, available starting the 23rd of November 2020 world time. The amount of damage taken during battle, number of chains and so on will affect the points you earn, and wonderful rewards can be acquired based on accumulated points and final total. Also, the logo has this dark scratch, which reminds me of another certain event from a certain FFVE game.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sounds basically like World of Vision's Dark Vision.
Yep, that does.
Nice, I guess. I mean, I'm with it.
Though it seems like, well, there is indeed the compete with other players over rankings based on points earned. There are the fact that it seems like the points carry over from one attempt to the next.
Huh.
So it sounds like more of an endurance one than attain peak performance right there.
Okay. That's cool.
Kinda like the way the raid has ranking.
Yeah, so what I hope isn't that it's like a raid where you do the same one over and over again. There will be different
Sounds
enemies,
like it could be it. Sounds like it could be it, and it could mean that you could say refresh your way into more points instead of optimizing individual fights.
Oh.
And say refresh more with visual, and say have more refreshes per day because you're higher on the track from the VIP system.
No, don't tell me that.
I don't know how it goes in JP, but that sounds from the description as a possibility.
Yeah, I gotta do some more research on that.
That could be a whale bait even.
Yeah, I hope not. We'll see. I mean, I got a decent amount of units that I can use,
And
so we'll see.
If it is a whale bait event, I hope the inferior brackets don't make the rewards fall too hard, at least.
Right. We'll see, I guess. We shall see.
We shall see.
We shall see.
All right, I think that's...
Oh, and I think we can move on to our main topic.
Which is your phone.
Rana's phone.
Well, partly. I think you'll remember in the height of the summer, I said that World of Vision's auto farm and letting it go was making my phone very, very hot indeed.
Yeah.
I remember that, yes.
A little bit over 2 weeks ago, I heard about a certain subreddit, which is named r/spicy cushions.
Uh-oh.
Which is named after the cushion-like effect a battery gets when it's inflated.
Oh dear.
Then I noticed that my wait, I don't have the word anymore. The shell around the phone, the case.
Right. Okay.
Brain, please.
Yeah, that's a word you probably want to remember.
Yes. So then I noticed that the case of my phone was a little bit misshapen. And then I removed the case and noticed that it wasn't the case's fault.
Yeah.
So my phone has this little bump and this part of its rear cover that is lifted by what I can only assume is the battery within.
Yes.
That sounds like a fire hazard.
That sounds unfortunate, yeah.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. So, because I don't want to start more fires in the world, I've decided to take things into action and to change phone. That's not the end of the story, however.
Okay.
Because, so I've had this phone for 2 years now, so I had the best way to upgrade to a better phone by going to my phone carrier directly. But of course I'm a bit short. I recently changed some audio equipment a little bit, had to do some other shopping and don't have that big of an income, so I didn't want to spend $200 or something on a new phone.
Right.
So I looked at the cheaper options, and one of them clearly outperformed every other.
Okay.
It is the Huawei P40. It is at this price not because of its performance, but because it is a recently released Huawei phone.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that brand. I will just readily admit that.
They are one of the brands that is actually now illegal in the United States because China's spying bad.
Oh, okay.
And it is also a brand that is unallowed to deal with US companies.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Like Google, meaning that this phone cannot originally have Google Play Store installed and cannot interact with apps that use Google Play in any shape or form.
Oh.
So I have this new phone and the inability, at least through intended methods, to get either FFVIIR Exvius or the Visions on it.
Oh boy.
Great. I would have walked straight back into the store.
I ordered online because I try to limit my move.
Ah, yes.
And besides, at least they advertise clearly the situation on the store page.
Mhm.
And I will eventually find a workaround. It sounds complicated but doable.
Oh man, it sounds terrible.
In the meantime, however, I didn't want to fire my old phone back. It does work, but I didn't really want to try to have it set on fire.
Fire
So
bad.
I went back. Yeah. So I went back to good old Nox.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
And I'm on this emulator train, which does mean that I've played a lot less of World of Visions in particular. Turns out this game is pretty good in a phone format, but not great for the farm as a part of your PC, especially when your processor is already a bit struggling.
Yeah.
The most annoying part, though, was switching for the Amazon App Store version of Brave Exvius,
Mhm.
which is the only one, as last I checked, that works on the simulator.
Right.
Because, sure, it means that Lapis doesn't transfer, who cares, I had only 1,000 that remained. I did a daily pool and a 500 pool, and that wasn't that problem.
Right.
It also means there were some binding issues, because from the Amazon App Store, you can only bind things from Facebook, not Google Play.
True. Oh, yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and I went from the original Facebook, which was the only binding
Right.
option, to Google Play when the option was available, because I'm not actively using Facebook.
Right.
And it turns out that you cannot go back. There is a limited number
Yeah.
binding attempt, and even if you contact tech support, they cannot do anything
I've
about
heard.
it.
Well,
And then once they've said that and you said okay, they will ask 3 times in a row if they have answered your question properly.
And you're like, well, not really.
So yeah, these games are making themselves unknowingly complex to play at times.
yeah, that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I get like not having unlimited binding attempts because that's rife for fraud. But
Yeah,
like,
but at least you should be able, if you contact the support and provide proof in one way or another,
Yeah.
It's not like it can't be
to
done.
like cancel the attempt.
There's no
Yes.
way it can't be done.
Yeah, but it should be a security feature, and it would have stung a lot if, like, from one day to the next, nope, you don't have any binding attempts, your 4-year-old account is not yours anymore.
Right.
These games, they're
Yeah.
making it hard to love them at
I
times.
do. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of inadvertently like their MO, you know. You hate them and you love them because you hate them.
and there's a
I
reason that's
don't
our
love
sign
them
off.
because I hate that. But yeah, that is a good point to end things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is annoying is annoying, and we all don't like annoying, right?
No.
Anyway,
Indeed.
that is all the time we have for this week. Sorry about your phone, Rana.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for tuning
No
in.
problem.
We'll be
At the very least, I chain better now when I'm on emulator.
That is true. We will be back next week with more of the games you love to hate, as we literally just said.
Yes.
Have a good one,
See ya.
everyone.
Have a good one, guys.
I stole your outro.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.